Hey everybody, Crazy Red here. It's time for my Megadeth review. I recently got to see the mighty Megadeth, um, fronted by the fourth horseman of the apocalypse himself, the Prince of Darkness thrash metal, Dave Mustaine. In case you didn't know, Dave Mustaine was once a member of the band Metallica. In fact, he was the lead guitar player for Metallica before Kirk Hammett took over. And if you want to look up anything on Megadeth, Metallica, there's plenty of it on the internet. It's heavy metal folklore at this point, and I won't waste my time explaining the whole thing to you, other than they kicked Dave out because he was too metal for Metallica. But he wrote a lot of their music in the early days and was their main guitar player. But that's neither here nor there. This is about Megadeth, not Metallica. So when I was growing up as a kid, Megadeth, Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, thrash metal was considered by many to be a fad that would burn out over time. And then a couple things happened. Grunge happened, which killed hair metal. Right before grunge killed hair metal, there was this moment in time where thrash was right there, kicking the crap out of hair metal. And Metallica's Black Album, Megadeth's Rust in Peace album, and Megadeth's Symphony for Destruction album were being blasted all over everybody's airwaves right before Smells Like Teen Spirit. But they're still around, man. And, the big four, out of all the big four, Megadeth was always my favorite personally. And I've seen the big four. I've seen Metallica twice. I've seen Anthrax with Ozzy way back in the day during the State of Euphoria tour, which was a great show, by the way. Ozzy, Blizzard of Oz tour. Or no, wait, it wasn't Blizzard of Oz. It was No Rest for the Wicked tour with Anthrax. That was a great show. Zakk Wylde, Miracle Man. That was an awesome show. And then I saw Slayer with Testament, which was another bucket list show for me here in Nashville a couple years back. Me and Miss J, when she was still part of the show, went and saw that. I think at the Brooklyn Bowl, or no, at the Memorial. Yeah, at the Memorial. So anyway, I went and saw Megadeth downtown at the amphitheater, which is a great place to go see a show, by the way. In fact, if you're buying tickets for that place and you want the best seats in the house, get B4. I'm not kidding. Seats 1 and 2 are center stage and looking straight down. You can see everything. We sat there for a while during Mudvayne because the place hadn't filled in yet, and we weren't even sure where our tickets were at. We were sort of like, well, let's sit here and see how long we get away with it. And if you look at the map when you're buying tickets on some of these sites, they give you a map. I can just tell you that the map makes it look like you're in these nosebleed seats and you're not going to see anything, and yet your back's against the wall. Nobody can get behind you, and you can see straight down and see everything. And now that I'm actually wearing glasses again, I can actually see what's going on around me. Because for a long time I was blind, literally. People didn't realize I couldn't see jack. I mean, I could see well enough to get by, but when I took my driving test, they were like, "Yo." The nice lady at the DMV in Florida was like, "I'm going to let you slide, but you need to go get glasses." So I got glasses. Anyway, so yeah, I was center stage, and then we went exit stage left for Megadeth because that's where our seats were actually at. And truth is, we were actually closer to the action and could see behind the stage from there. So that was kind of cool. I would have liked to have been on the floor, but I went with a friend of mine a little bit older than me, and we're both a couple of old timers now, old metalheads. So we were like, I don't know if I want to be on the mosh pit with a bunch of young kids. Um, they were like crowd surfing and going over the wall, and then they were just letting them go back out on the floor. And so there was guys like crowd surfing, taking selfies with their phones. Um, and I thought that was cute, because back in the day they would just run you out. But I guess the feeling I got from the show, first off, Dave Mustaine and everything, was that there was a sort of like, take care of the kids kind of feeling from the security. It wasn't like, oh, beat these kids up and run them out of here for moshing and getting crazy. Instead, it was more like, no, it's cool. Let them do it and just make sure they're safe. And that was kind of the feeling that the show had, which was great, positive vibe. And then Megadeth, man. Let's get to the music. These guys rocked. It was a 90-minute set. I was hoping maybe they'd throw a few curveballs at us, maybe do a couple songs that weren't, on the playlist. They didn't play anything off of So Far So Good So What, which was a little disappointing. Um, which is one of my favorite records by them. They did play Wake Up Dead and Peace Sells and Everybody Has a Hero, which has a little bit of The Conjuring in it. And then, they played the standard stuff that you would expect them to play. And it was a great show, honestly. Dave Mustaine can still rip on the guitar. He was never known for his great vocals, but having survived throat cancer and still being out there doing that, I have to give him real credit for that, real props for that. And the band that he's got playing with him, some of these guys have been around for a minute. I know the bass player, I think, was in White Lion, which is an old 80s hair metal band. Or at least I think he was. My apologies to anybody if I get any of this wrong. The drummer, I'm pretty sure Dave stole from Godflesh. He is just a powerhouse drummer. I think he's like the Eric Singer of drummers, or Eric, he's like the guy everybody wants in their band, drummer. And then this new kid whose name I can't even pronounce, a ripper. Okay, when I mean he's a ripper. He rips, and he rips right through all these leads. If you're playing lead guitar for Megadeth, okay, not only do you have to cover some of Dave's guitar playing, because Dave Mustaine is, he's a force to be reckoned with in his own right when it comes to playing metal leads. But then you have to compete with the guys who used to play with Dave, like Marty Friedman and Chris Poland. And these guys, both those guys, wrote lead guitar parts that, there's certain, like you go see the Grateful Dead, and you don't really go to see the Grateful Dead to hear the guitar solos played note for note like they were on the album. Okay, but when you go to see a band like Megadeth, you kind of do. They're kind of like in the same classes like Rush, where they have serious hardcore fans, and the fans want to hear the songs played like they were played on the record. So you don't hear these guys who come in to fill in on the lead guitar parts. You don't hear them going off script much. You don't hear them like going off and playing their own leads to this stuff. No, they play the leads like they were written on the record. And some of the most iconic leads were definitely Marty Friedman's leads, and then Chris Poland, one of the great unsung heroes of heavy metal. He's a great lead guitar player from the early Megadeth albums, and this kid nailed him. He not only nailed him, but he played him like he wrote him. I can't say enough about the new kid. He really impressed me. I was like, this guy rips. I'm so glad I got to see this particular lineup. And, Dave Mustaine's been talking about retirement himself. And he says, now, this band now is just like too good to quit, too legit to quit. And that's going to be my official review on the Megadeth show, honestly. Is not only was it a great fucking show, oh, pardon my French, um, and a bucket list for sure, because it completed my getting to see the big four bands, which was, my childhood dream. But out of all the bands I've seen, Megadeth is too legit to quit. And, there's a lot of these bands out there now where they got one or two original members of the band, and then the rest of the band's a bunch of young people backing them up. And, I went to the Rock Island Festival in Key West, and I saw like Vixen and all these different bands that were doing that. It was either the original band with a new lead singer, because the singer was either dead or he was an asshole, like Sebastian Bach, or it was like Lita Ford with like a whole band of young cats playing along with it. Um, and so I get it. Not everybody can rock. You know. Anyway, bottom line is Dave Mustaine has got probably one of the best lineups in heavy metal music with current Metallica. I mean, Megadeth lineup. I'll have to audit that out later. But Metallica, still Lars, James, whatever. I don't even want to talk about Metallica stuff. But anyway, you can't really talk about Metallica or Megadeth without talking about the others. They were all in bed together back in the 80s. So. Anyway, that's my review on that. It was a great show. Go see Megadeth if they continue to tour. Hopefully they'll continue to tour. Hopefully they'll put out another record lineup.